Mic check 1 2 1 2. It's the Y2K collector, and is now the time to buy some of your favorite and rare Sega Genesis games. I did a video like this on the PlayStation 2 the other day because the market for a lot of PlayStation 2 games have dropped. Not all, but a lot of them have dropped. And so we've seen the same thing happen with the Sega Genesis. I don't think that the Sega was ever as popular, that the Genesis was ever as popular of a collecting item as, say, the, maybe like the Super Nintendo or the NES. It's always been one of those more forgotten systems. But I did want to kind of just take a look at it and see and say, okay, is this a good time to perhaps dive into some of the games that maybe you've always wanted, but were just priced ridiculously high? So let's get into it. First one up is Castlevania Bloodlines. This is a classic. We all know about Castlevania Bloodlines. It's one in the long list of amazing Castlevania games, but this was the flagship game on the Sega Genesis. And I believe that this game at one point was pushing $300 to $400. I have a boxed copy of Castlevania Bloodlines, which right now you can get for roughly between $150 and $180. I've seen some for $190. If you get it, if you're looking for a complete, I'm still seeing this game push around 300, maybe a little bit over, depending on the condition. This copy that I have is in pristine condition. The only thing is that it's missing a manual, no manual. So that's why I have this copy, and I got this actually on a trade when I want to say in 2022, when I was trading away all of like my lower end PS4 games and lower end PS3 games. I was just liquidating crazy, and so this was one of the things that I trade for. So if you're interested in Castlevania Bloodlines, if you're looking to get like an original copy for the Genesis, now might be a decent time to look for them. If you're looking to add this collection piece to your collection, if you're not wanting to spend the money on this, there are a bunch of different Castlevania collection games that you can play this game on. I just went over one yesterday that's available for the PlayStation 4. But again, this is more so for the collectors. If you're looking to add this as a collection piece, now might be a good time to look into it. Another game that I don't have the manual for is Streets of Rage 3. This one is the more, I guess, uncommon rather, in the three. You have Streets of Rage, which is a Sega Genesis staple. That's just a game you gotta play. Streets of Rage 2 is the most popular one. That, in many people's eyes, is the greatest beat 'em up of all time. And then you have Streets of Rage 3, which adds a new twist on it and some new characters for you. Not only do you have Axel and Blaze, but you also have Rue, Skate, and I forget the name of the dude with the cyborg arm. I can't remember at this time. This game, again, was one of those games that was hovering in the 300 zone. I don't have a manual. I have a boxed copy. Again, boxed copies of this game between 150 and 190. I know that's a wide range, but the reason why the ranges are so broad is because, these games are very old. So not all copies come in this condition, like in terms of the cover art being, really crisp all the way around, even into the back. A lot of times you'll see where the cover art has like water damage, it has stains on it. So that can affect the price, because at this stage of the game, games like this are considered collector's pieces. So all of those things are going to matter. Don't have a manual for this one. I believe with a manual, this can still push 250 to 300. But let me know down in the comments. This has taken a little bit of a drop. This one was fetching a high dollar before, but we have seen a 10 to 15% decrease in this one. Next up, we have The Punisher. Now, The Punisher, I know for sure, during the pandemic, this was easily a $500 game complete in box. I've seen some cases where this game was pushing $600. I was never willing or I just didn't have it in me to spend that much on this game. This was another game that I got on trade. So unfortunately, my copy is not complete in box. I just have the case and I have the game. I believe the game, and I'll open this one up, but I believe the game is in good condition, and I do have the insert. Yeah, so I have the insert and I have the cart. The cartridge is in like really good shape on the cart, and really good shape on the box, right? The box is in really good shape. Cover art is in really great shape. I just could never find a good manual, and I've tried desperately to find the manual for this game all over the place, but either the manuals I find are chewed up to death, or it looks like somebody, you know, flushed it down the toilet and dried it off. They all just look horrible. So I'm just really waiting, and I'm being patient for the day that I run into a decent manual. It doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't have to be 8 out of 10. I'm willing to take a 7 out of 10 manual. It's got to be decent. I don't mind if it has a few wrinkles. It just can't have any stains or tears. That's the killer for me. But Punisher, like I said, at one point, this is pushing $500. A boxed copy right now, you can get for under 200, or right at around 200. You can get a boxed copy of the Punisher. Complete in box, I've seen go for around $350. Like 350 is where this is hovering at now. To me, that's a significant drop. To go from 500 down to 350, that's a big drop. So if the Punisher is a game you played like me, I played this game a ton, because I started adding games for my Sega Genesis like when I was like a freshman or sophomore in high school. Like this was right when we were transitioning out of like the 16-bit era, like the Super Nintendo Sega era, into like the N64 PlayStation era. So you could still find Sega Genesis games at a lot of stores, at a lot of like video game stores. And so I had a loose cart then. And that's like amazing. Punisher is an amazing beat 'em up. You really got to play it. Like it'll give Streets of Rage. I think the reason why people think Streets of Rage 2 is the best is because it's so nostalgic and it was so available. But gameplay wise, the Punisher is like, I think it beats Streets of Rage 2. Not only do you have great beat 'em up action in this one, you can do all the things you did in Streets of Rage. You can grab folks, you can slam folks, obviously you've got your punching and your kicking, but you can take enemy weapons and it's not limited. Like in Streets of Rage, you just got bats and knives. In this one, you can take an enemy's gun and use the gun against them. And they've got handguns, machine guns. You can use those. Also, each character, because you can either play as Nick Fury or as the Punisher. And so both of them have like special attacks where they drop bombs, and that kind of does a ton of damage on the screen. Very, very good beat 'em up. I strongly encourage you to check this one out. The only thing I don't like about this game, and I've said it before, is the music. The music is so like, I don't even know if old school isn't the word. It's just so, it just feels old. It feels really old. I'm not sure what they were going for with the music. I wish the music were better, but still amazing beat 'em up. Check this one out. It's gone down a lot. Next one up, we have Thunder Force 3. If you're into shoot 'em ups, I'm a shoot 'em up fanatic. Thunder Force 3 has seen about a 20% drop from its high. This is a game that I do have complete in box. I do have the manual. I'm not sure what condition the manual is in on this one. Okay, so pretty decent shape, yeah. So got the manual complete on this one with the cart. The cart is in pretty good condition. So a copy of Thunder Force 3 right now like this, ooh, might run you a pretty penny, I'm not gonna lie. Probably have you somewhere in the 200s, mid to high 200s is what I'm seeing this go for, possibly even over 300. This is a classic. Thunder Force 3, graphics-wise, gameplay-wise, and music-wise, this is in the upper echelon of shooters for the Sega Genesis. So I would keep an eye out for this one because the price has dipped, and I think it's still going down. I don't know how broad the market is for shoot-em-ups, but if you're a fan of shoot-em-ups, I say keep an eye out. This is definitely a collector's piece. Keep an eye out for it. Next one up we have here is Gunstar Heroes. If you're a fan of the run and gun shooter style game, definitely check out Gunstar Heroes. This one isn't as expensive as some of the others, and I don't think this one has dropped off too far from its high. Maybe Gunstar Heroes has taken maybe a 10 to 12% drop from its high, but you can pick up a pretty clean copy of Gunstar Heroes for about $170 or so, maybe $170, $180. Another collector's piece. Mine is complete in box. I do have the cart. And again, this was one that I picked up on a trade. So 2022 was the year of trades. Like if you wanted to pick up Sega Genesis games, I feel like everyone who had like the high dollar games for Sega were just getting rid of them, because I was constantly running into like rare Sega Genesis games that I was able to just use trade credit on. So really good one. I definitely would check this out. This is probably the most expensive Sega Genesis game in my collection for sure. At its height, Elemental Master was definitely going for over $500. This was easily a $500 to $600 Sega Genesis game because not only was it extremely rare, but it is extremely fun. Now, when they released the Sega Genesis Mini 2, it did have Elemental Master on it. So if you don't feel like paying the high price tag, you can just get a Sega Genesis Mini 2. That's like 99 bucks. You can pick one up on Amazon and you can experience this game. But to get this game today complete in box, I'm just going to say this. Like my copy, it is complete. I do have a complete manual. My manual does have a little bit of warping on the cover page, but it is complete. Everything is authentic. The cart has a little bit of damage right there. But to get a complete in-box copy of Elemental Master, I think this one is still going to run you in the high fours. This one is still going to run you in the high fours. So we've probably seen maybe like a 10% drop, maybe a 10 to 12% drop on Elemental Master. But the thing about Elemental Master is that a complete in-box copy is nowhere to be found. Like, I haven't seen a good condition complete in-box copy on eBay for a while. I haven't seen a complete in-box copy of this game on Mercari or on any of the like websites. So I think Elemental Master is kind of entering a phase where this one might, even if you can find one for like in the fours, this one might jump up pretty high because I just don't see many copies of this game available, period. And once video games like reach that point of rarity, it's pretty much you got to pay whatever someone's asking you for because you don't have a lot of options. Now, there are a ton of loose cart options for this game. I see that all over the internet, but I don't see a lot of like complete in box, 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10 copies. So Elemental Master is for sure a collector's piece. This is for someone who you want to just have a library of original games. Elemental Master, if you see it, in my opinion, if you see this game for anything under $4, I think it's a good deal. Especially if you see it for like $350, $380, that's a good deal for this game. I know I'm saying like $380, like it's like $38 or $3.80. I know still $380 is a lot of money to spend on a video game, but Elemental Master, I would say, is definitely one that you would want to pick up if you can find it in the threes, in the mid threes, or you know, and that if that's something that you want to add as a collector's piece. But really fun game, great game. It's like a shooter. It's a shoot 'em up. I mean, he's not flying through the air. He's really walking, but the way he, you know, shoots his magic out, you know, the way he uses his powers, it plays like a shoot 'em up, like a top-down shoot 'em up. You can see it right there. Decent graphics, great music, nice effects. This is a good game. I like this one. Wings of War, not going to spend a ton of time on this game. This game has gone down. Now, I don't know if the fact that Limited Run recently re-released this in like a compilation, because Limited Run re-released this game. They released actually the Japanese version of this game. I think it's called Guairong, or however you pronounce it. But Wings of War is the US version of that game that was re-released by Limited Run. I don't think it impacted the value of this game, but this has dropped. Wings of War, complete in box at one point, was fetching over $250. I think you can probably get this for under $200 now. But like Elemental Master, it's very hard to find a complete in box copy of this game. There are plenty of boxed copies. There are plenty of loose carts. But finding a copy of Wings of War with an original manual, and this manual is crispy, finding one in this condition is tough. So I think condition plays a big factor once you start getting into games like Elemental Master and Wings of War. The condition is what bumps the price up crazy. So like a complete in-box copy of Wings of War like this, I could easily see someone trying to charge $300 or better. But in most cases, I'm seeing it come in somewhere under $200. Now, a lot of those could be just box copies with no manuals, or manuals that are just trash, or even fake manuals. I do see a lot of repro manuals in this for this game. But if you can find everything original, authentic cover art and manuals, this is one that you may want to look into adding, or you could just save yourself a few $100 and just get the re-release on Limited Run. That's another option. Sold East, not going to spend a lot of time on this one, but this one just a year ago was easily over $250. I don't know what happened with this game, but even complete in box, I'm seeing this game go for under $200. I've seen it go for $180, or listed rather at $180, $190. Sold East is a decent shooter, definitely a great shooter. The Sega Genesis is home to many a great shoot 'em up. Let me just say that. But this is definitely a good one by Renovation. My copy, is it complete? Yeah, so my copy is complete. Not the best looking manual. Manual's in decent condition. The cart is in pretty good condition. But I remember when I first got this game, I traded for it. And I remember like the trade, you know, trading for it at that time, it was going for like in the 240s. This was like 240 and change. Definitely dropped. This one has super dropped. So if you're looking to collect like all the Renovation games, like Elemental Master is also a Renovation game. Renovation has made a lot of the older, like the old school shoot 'em ups. Like I have another Renovation game right here. Where's it at? I'll just throw in a bonus game just for the sake of argument. But even this one, Garres, this is also a renovation game, another shoot 'em up that you have here. So they made a lot of these really cool shoot 'em ups back in the day on the Sega Genesis. Is this one complete? Yeah, this one's complete. But look, this copy wouldn't be that expensive, even though this is like a $200 game. Look at that manual. Oof, damage. So it all depends on the condition of the game. Soldice is a good one. Again, if you're looking to collect shooters and build up a collection of Sega Genesis shooters, these are some really good shooters that you want to look at. But these are all going to be pretty hefty in terms of price. All right, next up we have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Hyperstone Heist. I know this game for sure was going for $250 or higher. $250, $280 is what I saw this going for, especially if you got it with the manual, because this was another one where getting the manual and for some of these was just really hard. My manual is, again, toast. Looks like the dog was snacking on it a little bit on the edges. But I do have a complete in-box copy of Hyperstone Heist. The cover art is in pretty good condition. But now you can get this for under $200. Hyperstone Heist you could easily get for under $200. The value or the pricing for a lot of these games has just dropped. And I think it's just because not as many people played Sega as they did Nintendo. So you would have had to really grown up with this system to really want to kind of get these games and relive the nostalgia. My brother was a Sega Genesis fanatic. We had the majority of these games at home. So that's why I have these in my collection, because these are the ones we actually played growing up. Last but not least, Lightning Force. This was one of my brother's favorites. It is also one of my favorites, despite them not really knowing how to spell lightning Force. Hilarious. But really great one. This is another one that you get when you get the Sega Genesis Mini 2. This one was, I think, at one point 200 or better. This is now under 200. This is probably like around 220, 230. I've seen this go for. Now you can probably get this for under $200 if you're patient and you wait for the right listing. Graphics and music on this, second to none, man. Thunder Force, and by the way, this is the 4th installment in the Thunder Force series. So you have Thunder Force 2, Thunder Force 3, which I just showed you, and then Lightning Force, which is technically Thunder Force 4. And then I think the series continues on the Sega Saturn or the PlayStation, because let me see if I have it right here. Where does, yeah. So the series, once they ended the series on like the Sega Genesis, the series then continued on the PlayStation and the Sega Saturn. So it goes, where's it at? It is, where did I have it? It's right here. So it goes Thunder Force 3. So you have Thunder Force 3, Lightning Force, which is Thunder Force 4, and then you have Thunder Force 5. I could have gotten this on the PlayStation. Working Designs released Thunder Force 5 on the PlayStation 1, but shoot 'em ups are just better on Sega. It's just my opinion. They play better and they sound better on Sega, and because the Saturn is more of a arcade style console and most shoot 'em ups are like arcade style games, I want to get the most arcade experience I can. And so that's why I opted to pick up Thunder Force 5 on the Sega Saturn. And I think this is where they start going into where, you know, all of your enemies are like fishes and stuff like that. But that does it for me. It's the Y2K Collector, just bringing you some things to consider, right? These are just some games that you may want to consider if you're building up a collection, right? This is more for those who are looking for collection pieces and trying to bulk up their collection in that way. Let me know what you think about some of these down in the comments. I'm the Y2K Collector. Take it easy.